Hey, so the Arkham Knight video got some interesting reactions. Obviously it isn't meant to be some deep analysis, it's more of a casual format rage quit video that simply amuses me as a conclusion to my Arkham coverage. Started in the first and much better, more serious video on Arkham Asylum and City, which I both enjoyed. It's been a fun couple of weeks arguing back and forth in the comments, but I have grown tired and I'm ready to move on. Because I feel like I'm repeating myself, and I'd rather just leave this video here as something I can point to as I go on to newer and better things. I wasn't sure if I should put this on my side channel, Residual Mayo, or put it here and risk annoying the viewers who don't enjoy this kind of drama and just want to see game analysis. Well, ultimately I had to go with putting it on the main channel because the Arkham Knight video was labeled by so many as a ragebait video only done to get clicks, so why not go with that and make some money off this video as well. Click, 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 click. If this doesn't interest you, I invite you to ignore it and check out whatever else is coming out on this channel around this time. So for anyone curious enough to listen to some additional clarification, here it is, and let us never speak of this again. Well, at least not until the end of the year when I do the worst list. Number 1, I've heard everyone saying that the car doesn't actually take up a lot of the game. People are throwing all kinds of percentages at me, when the fact is, the first third of the game is stuffed with tank combat. It doesn't matter to me if it evens out later, the amount of car stuff is so ridiculous early on that it soured me on the entire experience. Number 2, I am well aware that the enemy tanks do not have drivers inside and are instead driven remotely, but that has nothing to do with my comment about morons that can't hear behind them. That's just a simple, reductive way of stating how dumb the whole section is, because even if they are driven remotely, that means these futuristic war tanks have no microphones to monitor their surroundings, no cameras behind them or even to their sides, and no sensors behind them, which normal consumer trucks and shipping trucks have had forever. Or they do have all those things and the remote drivers still don't notice. It feels like you're fighting morons, even if in reality the tanks are either A, remotely driven by morons, or B, designed by morons. It's the same thing to play it. Number 3, my comment about forgetting how to do certain attacks is just a casual, funny comment I included about my frustrations with how infrequently the game was putting me into serious combat situations in the first third of the game. It's not meant to be taken so seriously. Number 4, I do not finish games I'm having a terrible time with after hours of playing them and enjoying almost nothing about them. I listened to people's criticism before about me sometimes not finishing games I don't like, and I forced myself to finish Deathloop in 2021 to prove the haters wrong. I regret it to this day because the game was shit all the way to the end and only got worse. I'll never repeat that mistake. Game sucks, I quit. Number 5, regarding my comment that the combat felt a lot easier compared to Arkham City. People have pointed out that I'm simply better at the combat after having played the first 2 games, so it feels easier when it's actually the same. And okay, that's a fair point. That most certainly is a factor, but I also felt like I got swarmed by thugs on the street pretty early in Arkham City if I went around picking fights. And the early campaign missions threw bigger, more challenging fights at me. Arkham Knight didn't feel like that, but hey, if I'm wrong on that one, fine. Hell, even getting footage for this video, I was shocked at how much more demanding the opening fight with Catwoman is in Arkham City compared to the early action I came across in Arkham Knight. Even the first fight I picked in the streets had me feeling under pressure. Knight street fights just didn't have that in my experience, speaking as a casual fan. Number 6, the ability to get the electric gun early on is completely irrelevant to my point about gadget integration in level progression. Arkham City from a very early point had me using gadgets to progress. The electric gun had to be used to open doors. You have to use the grapple to cross the water to get to Penguin. These things happen quite early in the campaign and encourage familiarity with your gear as you're learning how the game plays. In contrast to this, in Arkham Knight, I have made it a third through the game's progression doing campaign and side missions, and it's done a far inferior job of getting me into gadget variety. Level progression seems to be all about the car. And I don't care that there may be gadget integration later on. Too late. The game has already lost me by being 50% tank combat and constant cutscenes for the opening hours. Number 7. Calling Arkham Knight a bad game is not something I think anyone should take personally. I'm not gonna get into arguments about objectivity versus subjectivity. People can like what they like. But I'm not calling anyone stupid for liking what I think is a bad entry in the Arkham series. I think we all like bad games here and there. Hell, even Redfall has a fan base, and they call you dishonest and a click chaser for calling it bad. I like some bad games too, it's okay, and I'll defend things I think are good about them while still agreeing it's overall bad. I plan on talking about one of those really bad games that I like eventually. And finally, the porn point. Many have attempted to convince me that the part where Batman suits up in Arkham Knight is just the same as his suit up moment in City, and it's just not. First, they're contextually different. Cities is about Bruce Wayne becoming Batman. Knight's is about Batman getting a bunch of upgrades to make himself more badass. Second, in City he just puts on the suit and moves on to the objective. In Knight, the game pauses to dwell and indulge on every single suit upgrade as if this stuff were important to see. It's just there for fanboys to squeal and scream about how badass Batman's gear is. Third, while City simply moves on to the mission, Knight presents you with the option to do a bunch of VR missions to explore your cool new tech while hostages are waiting for you to rescue them. I think it's immersion breaking, and the problem is not resolved by it being optional. Just the existence of VR missions in this exact moment is distracting from how serious the experience feels at this point. If you disagree, fine, you can feel how you feel, this is how I feel. And for those who have to compare everything to Doom and insist this overindulgent masturbatory scene is just like Doom Eternal's celebration of Doom Guy's awesomeness, you might have a point if the tone of the Arkham series were anything like the Doom series. The first Doom has a blood-soaked Doom Guy holding the decapitated head of his pet rabbit killed by demons. It's always been silly and over the top. Not every single entry, Doom 3 is dark, but the series started pretty silly. Doom 2016 has silly stuff in it, and Doom Eternal takes it further. The Arkham games present themselves seriously, especially the very dark tone Arkham Knight. And this gross, oh yeah, Batman is so awesome, look at all his sweet gear, just doesn't belong here, in my opinion. And look, all the proof you need to see that this sequence in Arkham Knight is bizarrely overindulgent and off-putting to someone who doesn't touch themselves to Batman is to look at the duration of these two sequences, timing it from the moment they open the capsule to suit up to the moment when the player finally takes control. It takes Arkham City's sequence only 36 seconds to reach the end. Want to guess how long it takes Arkham Knight to suit up and get through all the gushing over his gear? Close to 2 minutes, 1 minute and 42 seconds. Case closed. That's all I have to say about it. My Arkham Knight video is not rage bait, but it is a video that causes rage. There is a difference. I don't make things in a specific way to cause rage, unless it's an ultra kill video, of course. I just make them how it comes naturally to me, and if it causes rage, fine. We'll have some fun. Obviously, I knew the video was gonna get the exact reaction it did, that's why I did the intro bit, so it wasn't surprising. Alright, that's all I got. Thanks for watching, and I'll just cover some normal stuff now and calm things down.